yeah, you basically had to grind. Because here's the thing, the original Tales of Phantasia had difficulty levels you could choose.
This one was just, I'm guessing, hard because they wanted to make money. And
they locked it between the second hardest and hardest difficulty mode, and it's locked. You can't change difficulty, period. So, yeah, you have all those things kind of stacked together, and it's free, but it's also broken and ruined.
And keep in mind, there was already a handheld version of that game anyways. It was on the Game Boy Advance.
Yes, and it's an okay port on the Game Boy Advance. It's not, you know, as good as...
It's got some slowdown.
It's got some slowdown, and you have to kind of... It's hard to compare it to either the Super Famicom or the PlayStation versions of the game. But, you know, it's like...
Yeah, it's really not a smart decision. Like, Tales fans are like, come on, we barely get these games as it is. Don't ruin it for us. At least the ones in North America.
It's all ruined.
Crap.
Again, you could do a free-to-play version of some of these games and not screw them up.
Did one of the Final Fantasies that just came out had like an in-game purchasing?
Oh, you're thinking All the Bravest.
Yeah, Final Fantasy the Bravest, which was like a weird game they made for iOS, but Rise of Mana, I'm looking at that, I'm annoyed. I just want, I don't know, I just want Seiken Densetsu 3 to be released in the US. That's all I want.
That was an impressive 4-player instant kill of everyone at once.
Let's see that happen. The video call closed down.
Hang on, I'll fix that.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, we reached our 4-hour limit, so we've been streaming for at least 4 hours.
A while ago.
Yeah,
I forgot that happens.
Oh, could not check the subscription.
Such a
Are we hanging up the call briefly? And
hang on. It should work in a second. You just got to give it a little bit. Skype needs a little bit of a kickstart.
It needs a Kickstarter for Skype.
It's telling me I need to check my subscription. Could not check subscription. Try again.
Thank you, Skype. That's very useful.
Skype's always got your back, man. I'll bring it back after this match.
That's fine.
It's interesting. It looks like Rise of Mana makes allusions towards Legend of Mana in terms of the way that the land looks and such, but it can't match Legend of Mana. It's so good.
AC fan goes to bed if you've been up for 35 or so hours, like you said.
What?
AC fan is apparently you've been up for like 35 hours.
Jeez, dude, Brandon, go to bed.
Stop watching the stream. Tenmar apparently knocked you out. Someone did. Probably for the better, though. Get some rest.
Sword of Mana. Oh, Sword of Mana. You want to talk about another game that pisses me off? Sword of Mana is one of them. You don't want to know? You want to know why? Sword of Mana has character classes that you unlock by having specific configurations of levels you're supposed to take in different areas of your character. Knowing the specific combinations is practically unknown to the player, though. And
are there guides?
Not in the game that I could find, but they're external to the game, which means ridiculous stuff. Okay, let me pull up game facts real quick for the class guide, because this is where it comes into fun. So let's see here. Let's say you wanted to become one of the more advanced. Let's see what classes did I end up doing that was really fun here. I got the. Okay, let's say you want to be a ninja master. Okay, to be a ninja master, you're required that you level up magician 5 times, thief 20 times, and random 10 times.
Random?
Which is basically, instead of giving you specific stat payout, you got a random stat payout.
Oh.
However, if you did magician 10 times, sage 10 times, and thief 15 times, you unlock the nomad class.
So is it impossible to get every class?
No, yeah, it's impossible. You basically just pick one class path to go down. But that's just like Seiken Densetsu 3. or where you basically each character specialized in a particular class range, which was a problem, was just knowing what the level combinations were without reading a guide. Like, you know, if you wanted to become a great diviner, which is one of the magician classes, you needed to take 1 level of warrior, 1 level of monk, 3 levels of thief, 10 levels of sage, and 20 levels of magician. How would you know that? You could be like, you could take 50 levels of magician and be like, oh, I should have taken a level of warrior and monk. Of course I should have. Like, it's a cool idea, but the lack of transparency made it really frustrating.
I think that point goes to Dan. There's no way around that one. And no. No, it looks like a draw.
Yep. Tenmar hits it right on the head. You basically wanted a specific class in the game. You had to look up the information how to get that class in a guide because the game doesn't tell you.
Yeah, that's really dumb.
It's a.
Do you even know that a class exists in the game?
Oh, sure,
like,
yeah. You know that classes exist, and the initial classes are easy to get. Like, let's say you wanted to become...
No, like, do you know what every class is right away? Like, they tell you these are all the classes.
I don't think so.
Okay, because that's just dick-ish. You don't even know that class exists.
Yeah, the initial classes are easy to understand. Like, okay, I want to become a thief. Okay, you level up thief 5 times, bam, you're a thief. And then your next two classes, are either ranger or ninja. You become a ninja, you level up thief 10 times and random 5 times. If you want to become a ranger, though, it's thief 10 times and sage or the healer 5 times.
Yeah, how does that make sense though? The ranger.
Yeah, exactly.
What does that have to do with healing?
It's about the ranger was the light side of the thief branch, which was attributed to Seiken Densetsu 3. Again, the classes are actually derived from the character classes that are in Seiken Densetsu 3, which are cool, and I love that game so much. I actually have 2 copies of that for my Super Famicom.
I've only emulated that, but it's a good game.
It's glitchy as hell, but it's so good.
John, how many classes did Bravely Default have?
24.
That's
right. Yep, and I actually have every one of the classes' jobs maxed out in level, and all 4 of my characters level 99.
Same here.
Yep, and I haven't beaten the game. I just can't bother myself to.
What chapter are you in?
The second to last one.
You're probably having the same problem I did. Are you just getting like steamrolled, or are you just getting bored beyond belief?
Both, because the boss fights that the optional boss fights, which I want to do for the equipment payouts, are so hard.
I'll be honest, the equipment payouts kinda garbage.
And that's the other thing, and I'm also kind of bored with the way the game plays out because,
you really need the equipment though by the time you've already beaten that boss.
Yes.
It's like beating the weapons in Final Fantasy VII. Like.
Well, basically the thing is that in Bravely Default, being at max level doesn't mean anything. If you have a bad job and skill combination, you'll get steamrolled.
Well, that's true. That makes sense because that's how
so at that point,
job class system games work.
Well, it's even more so. In this point, it's kind of like Shin Megami Tensei tier, where the wrong combination basically is a complete non-starter, and you have to kind of almost test the waters and see whether your combination will even work.
Yeah, that could be a problem. Sure,
yeah, basically the only reason I got through that game completely was because someone in the chat actually was like, "Here, this is a much better team to use, and will save your sanity." Yes. So I switched my team over to that, and it saved me so much grief. Yeah,
and there are some cheesable combos and such though.
Crimson Phoenix, keep in mind that John played with max encounter rate, and I think you were on hard, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I was not playing on hard, but I did run a max encounter rate for a while. Is it a good game? It's
snipe.
Well produced. It's well produced. The voice acting is very hit or miss. I dislike a number of the English voice acting bits. Decisions.
Murgurger.
Why?
Murgurger.
I can't tell if that was on purpose or not, though. Like, they were reading it, and it was like, do a grunt, and then they just said it anyway.
Who's the localization director who thought that isn't an effective parallel for what the character did in the Japanese version? And it got really tedious. I've mentioned this in the text chat. I've called up many people as hypocrites who complain about the linearity of Final Fantasy XIII's first half, and then don't complain about the linearity of the first half of Bravely Default.
Bravely Default at least gives you the feeling that you can do more,
even though it blatantly can't. Because especially for the first 2 chapters, we want to go to a location that's not in the main quest line. All of a sudden, they're like, "No, you can't go there. We have to keep moving." It's like, "Oh, I see a cave. I want to go in this cave." "Oh, you can't go there."
Here.
To be fair, at least the game has side quests.
It does, but for me, that's a non-issue because the side quests are mandatory for me because I want all the jobs.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
And also, it's really required for the latter chapters to make as much sense as they do with all the different people you're fighting. Yeah, it's just like...
I don't know. That game could have been like absolutely like spectacular, but like those last 2 chapters just kill it. If the game was 2 chapters shorter, it would be like a guaranteed 10 out of 10. Otherwise, it's like an 8 out of 10.
And the thing was, I get the point of the chapters narratively, but...
Yeah, and the story gets better in the last half of the game, too. It feels like they're actually like trying more in the last half.
If I'm not mistaken, there's actually some other game plotline that from the Square Enix library that basically directly borrows from for its plot points. I wouldn't be surprised, though.
Yeah, I am also not surprised by that, to be fair, but... but it's also not made directly by Square Enix. It's done by the same guys who made 3D Dot Game Heroes.
I know.
Silicon Studio, yeah.
That was a good game.
And I see people in the chat saying, well, at least it isn't just literally hallways. The dungeons in Bravely Default might as well have been hallways. They were so non-complex.
They at least had branching paths. Even if it was just for like a small payout of loot.
Yeah, exactly. For me, I'm like, eh. Besides, Silicon Studio should be better known for another amazing role-playing game they've done. A strategy role-playing game they've done, and if you don't know which game this is already, I'm disappointed in your lack of obscure knowledge here.
I feel like I used to know it, but I've forgotten it.
Well, actually, oh shoot, it's weird because they were listed as developers on it, but they were only listed as special thanks from the proper developer. But they were involved in the development of Operation Darkness.
Oh right, the strategy RPG.
Nazis. Yes.
No, sorry. Let me rephrase that. The anime Nazi turn-based strategy game
with werewolves and vampires.
I do have a copy of this, by the way. I think it's still sealed.
So do I.
For some reason, everyone has a copy of it, but I know no one who's played it.
I have played a few bits of it. It's just amazing because the game, I'm like, I want to like it. I love this turn-based militaristic sort of stuff, and there's some interesting ideas, but it's just ridiculous. The premise is so amazingly ridiculous. It's, again, allow me to give you the synopsis. Operation Darkness follows a squad of British SAS soldiers fighting the Nazis across the European theater. The story covers much of the real history of the European War, including the battles for North Africa and the liberation of mainland Europe. Frank resistance fighters, American soldiers, and others appear as non-player characters. The game diverges significantly from real history in that zombies of deceased Nazi soldiers appear as adversaries, and 2 of the player characters can transform into werewolves. Also, other fantasy elements include the appearance of supernatural foes such as vampires, as well as allowing the use of magic spells.
I have to mention that we're taking a wrong step in history here. There are zombies. Well, if someone just read that, they would really think that happened.
Also, there's dragons in the game.
Everything about what you just said sounds awesome.
Look up the cover. Look up the front cover of the game.
Also, it's like Fire Emblem in that if a character dies and they're not revived before the end of the mission, they're dead permanently.
That's fair.
Speaking about weird RPGs, how are you liking Toadstool Tour?
You mean the GameCube one?
No, I thought that was
World Tour.
World Tour. Sorry.
I'm really enjoying it.
Toadstool Tour, like the Mario Golf game.
Yep. Mario Golf World Tour. They brought RPG back.
No, they really didn't. They really didn't.
No. They just said they did.
Allow me to interject something real quick. Somebody said that the game is by Atlas. No, it's not. It's by Success.
It's published by Atlas, though.
It's essentially
in the US.
Atlas got its name slapped on it.
Atlas only has his name slapped on it in the U.S. Success actually published it themselves in Japan, incidentally.
But it's weird because it's like one of the few Atlas games actually on the 360.
Yes, it is.
Which is the strange thing about it.
Accurate feudal Japan history. So here we have this giant enemy crab.
Yep.
God, there's a bit I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, that's taking it way back to what, 2005?
Yeah, 5. It sounds right. Yeah.
5 or 6. Yeah.
No, because the console would have been out in 6, so I think it was 5 for sure.
E3 Sony 2006.
Oh, yeah,
never mind.
It was a year of, because that's the one where they ended with $599 US dollars, $500.
God, $5,999 would be frightening.
I'm sorry, I slipped there. But yeah, Bravely Default, just to relay back to that, as the first entry in the franchise and the first ever by the studio in this type of game, it's fine. I would like to see what the sequel, what is it, Bravely Second?
Yeah, they did say it was in the works.
There's a trailer for it in Bravely Default.
Yeah, I think you get it if you actually beat all the side quests. That trailer, I mean. Because I know some people who beat the game and didn't get the trailer.
A trailer? Why is a trailer unlocked for beating the side quest? Why is that an option?
That's just like a really shitty prize. Yeah.
That's a pretty shitty prize.
You get something else too. It's like a costume for, I want to say Anies, but I'm not 100% sure on that. You get something. It's been a while.
Yeah, there's other costumes that have been reduced in their obscenity in the U.S. release. In their quote obscenity.
Does that mean they just have giant boobs?
No, that just means they're showing less like everything, less skin in general.
To be fair, in the American release of the game, all the characters are made older, so they're just
sort of legal.
So yeah, they're just arbitrarily made older than they are in the Japanese version.
I feel like this is terror with all the 12-year-olds.
Let me double check the age difference for, like, I don't know.
Well, I'm dead.
Terra's also an incredibly fun MMO that I got back into.
There was no way around that situation.
So Anies is 20 years in the US version and 17 in the Japanese version. Adia is 18-year-olds in the US version and 15 in the Japanese version. And she's the one that gets the Bravo Bikini alternate outfit in Japanese version. And well, in American version too, but it's...
Did you just snap your fingers?
You damn right I did.
Spirit Tomb says everyone got aged up 5 years.
Roughly, yeah. Pretty much. 3 years, actually.
And Comment also reminds us, don't forget the version of Bravely Default we got was actually Bravely Default for the sequel. So we got the updated version, which added in such features as autosave and the ability to adjust the encounter rate on the fly.
Yeah. Oh man, I'll just say I love the difficulty and encounter rate settings in Bravely Default. That
is a really welcome addition to any RPG, especially. Can you imagine Mother 1 with a normal encounter rate?
You know what's weird though? The one to keep in mind is the fact that if you were to pick up Bravely Default after not playing for like let's say a year, and it's just so hard for you to just drop the difficulty for a little bit until you get used to it, then just push up the difficulty again. So, yeah. But in either case, those are like minor things that don't take away from how the game overall is, which is good. I'm looking forward to the sequel.
Yeah.
As we know, most game franchises, the first game in most franchises are almost never the best one of the franchises.
Yeah, Brave the Default 1, I still recommend it. I recommend don't play it the way I did. Don't play it on hard. Don't always have the encounter rate on max. Although that will level you up pretty fast.
I powered leveled in that game so fast, it was hilarious. I was like level 50 by like...
I was so bummed out though, like you power level for a while and it seems like, oh, the game suddenly is like super easy. And then suddenly it just, you hit a giant roadblock and then the game just suddenly becomes way too difficult.
Yeah. Let's see here. But yeah, well, I'm just trying. Okay, can anyone think of a franchise? I'm pretty sure there is one where the first game of the franchise was the best one of the franchise.
Chrono Trigger. I actually saw someone in the chat say that before you even asked the question.
I would say there's a bunch of debate about that, though.
There is debate.
Chrono Cross is pretty good.
Yeah, and
you could probably get 1,000 people to say Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, but most people would say Melee though. At this point.
Most people will say Melee. I think most people would argue Melee over the original N64 game.
Gears of War 1.
No, 2 is so much better.
Yeah, that's true. Shit.
I went back and played Gears 1. No. No. That was my favorite Gears for the longest time, which is the funny thing.
See, it's like somebody put out Star Tropics. Star Tropics is a pretty good choice there.
The second was kind of good. They turned it kind of Contra-y.
Yeah, but some people just didn't
Shooting
like it.
8 ways.
I'm just trying to think of games that have. I can't say this because I never played any of them. But what about Devil May Cry?
3 is fantastic.
I hated 3, but I'll contend that 3 is probably the strongest of the franchise. 4, I've heard, is not bad.
I like 4, but 3 is a little bit better.
Right.
I had the PC version for it, so...
I mean, here's the thing. I probably could never play and beat 3, especially after my experience with the first American release, which was a horrible release of it.
Oh, that was...
But 3, after they corrected that, is probably the strongest of that franchise.
Someone in the chat said Mega Man X.
Bender Strings. I think you're wrong because Thousand Year Door I think is better than Paper Mario.
I would easily say the first Mega Man X is good.
Cyrock Omega Metroid Prime. 1 is way better than 2 and arguably better than 3.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, 3 is... I would say it's tough, but Prime would be a good case. For me, it's just kind of... It's weird.
I think 2 would be a much better game in the Metroid Prime series if the Dark World wasn't such a pain.
I almost don't want to include spin-offs, though, because... But Prime would be one of those cases where I'm okay with it.
And to be fair, the spin-offs turn into a franchise of itself, so...
It does, yeah, that's true. Let's see here.
Oh shit, that was a lot farther reaching than I thought.
Yeah, because then some people might get into like, well, Sonic Adventure 1's like, let's not get into Sonic Adventure versus other Sonic games and such.
Someone else made another good point.
Let's just not talk about the Sonic series in general, maybe. That's a series with a pretty shaky quality control.
Ninja Gaiden, someone said, but I think it's better than 1.
Are you talking about the Xbox Ninja Gaiden or the?
I think that's about
both. I'd argue both of them. Both, but like Ninja Gaiden 1 for the Xbox, I argue like the updates they made to that game are better than the original version of that game. So in that case, I don't think it applies. But yeah, Ninja Gaiden 1 Xbox is better than both Ninja Gaiden 2 and 3 Xbox. And if you're talking the original series,
BioShock.
I did enjoy Ninja Gaiden 2 though.
Ooh, BioShock 2 was terrible compared to 1.
And what about Infinite though?
It's almost a whole different game.
But it's the same franchise.
Infinite's a different... Well, I guess they are connected now with the DLC.
I would call them part of the same franchise, especially since the gameplay was so similar.
But then at that point, do you bring in System Shock?
Well,
I would say yes.
and even then, System Shock 2 is, I believe, known as the stronger between System Shock and System Shock 2.
Yeah, easily.
Even though System Shock isn't a bad game, it's just a System Shock 2, I think, had stronger success overall as a title and is very well regarded. Like Deus Ex is one I would say would be a great example of where the first game, at least by some, is considered the best of the franchise.
To be fair, the controls on the first one are fucking awful.
They're of their time.
Human Revolution's really good though.
But it wasn't the same team, I guess. But like, we're not really arguing that point either.
No.
Because that would nullify a lot of franchises at that point.
I mean, and again, we get some weird things. Like, for example, you can talk about Duke Nukem as a case that demonstrates the point because Duke Nukem 3D was the third game of the franchise. Someone mentioned Knights of the Old Republic. There's only 2 games within that franchise, but fair point.
3 if you count the Old Republic.
What about... What's another example of a game where there actually is a sequel to... Ooh, okay, here's an interesting one. John, No More Heroes. I'm not sure which one I like more, the original or the sequel, because I'll say the sequel is a better game, but I like the original more.
They both do things better and worse. That's the problem.
I agree with you.
Yes, I mean, it's things like this. Like, you know, 2 cuts out the filler of the overworld, but at the same time, it's like pacing is almost too...
Essentially, what 2 did was 2 did the opposite of 1.
Well played,
1
Dan.
had the
Well
overworld,
played.
But when you were indoors,
yes,
you can't walk around. Now it's the opposite.
Oh, he got robbed on that!
That was a draw?
That was a robbery! That should have been Dan's!
That should have... Oh, that's a bitch and a half right there. Oh, man. I mean, No More Hero 1, especially the payoff of the ending is so good.
Are you talking about the true ending?
Yes, of course, a true ending.
Okay, good.
That was the nerdiest question. You talking about the true ending? Of course!
Of course! The
other one doesn't fucking count!
Oh, jeez, Tales of
They're like Star Wars nerds.
Okay, damn it, we're not going to talk about the Tales franchise, because I'm not sure whether that's one or multiple franchises.
Ooh, Villa mentioned Snowboard Kids 2.
Snowboard
Kids 2 is a good game.
Someone said Banjo-Kazooie.
Ooh.
I'd argue... Ooh.
What about Banjo-Tooie?
2 had two had too much content, in my opinion.
Ooh, I actually see, that's funny. I've made that argument about other games, about too much content, and people are like, content's never a bad thing. Like, sometimes it's just too much.
I like that you get to travel back into the worlds in that game, like, oh, now you have a new power, go back there, you can do the jiggy, but at the same time, yeah, I can kind of see how that's too much.
I'm just looking at the stack of games next to me. Let's see what...
So, I'm trying to think some other examples, though.
You're solid?
Oh, I'll give you a good example. Rez, okay? Because I think Rez is... No, Child of Eden is a sequel to Rez.
Oh.
Isn't it technically just a spirit? Yeah.
The same.
No, someone said Portal. I think 2 is better than 1.
But I will contend that Child of Eden is the sequel to Rez because it's the similar premise, similar type of gameplay, same producer, same designer.
I believe we are getting raided.
Raided.
Cyber? Is that what? Yeah, Cyber Raid.
Cyber.
Cyber Raid? No!
Who's Cyber?
Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
And why is he raiding? What are you doing here? Who are you? Where are they? I don't mind, actually. Thank you for the raid.
Where is she? Where is she?
Well, he made a big blast in the chat.
Well, okay. The Raiders did not bring anything for the class to share, like candy, soft drink for the class. I'm gonna need to get some.
Did
names.
you bring enough raid for everyone?
They brought hard drink.
Okay, because I've had Gatorade before and it's a pretty good drink, but Cyber Raid I don't think is as good of a drink.
Cyber 170 apparently. Thank you.
What?
I'm always reminded that whenever someone brings that, you gotta share it with the rest of the class. Is the scene from Fast Times at Ridgemont High with
Tyson from We Wreck the Prey. All right, sweet. I'm cool with that, Tyson. Thank you, buddy. Where is she?
Mike Tyson's Punch-Out?
I don't know.
Which is arguably a better game than the Wii version.
Well, I don't know. 'Cause I actually like